Miyabi's coming to the game early, guys, so that means you now have less time to save up your polychromes to pull for her, because you thought you would have like maybe a dead little patch when Haru Masa's coming out, but he's coming to us for absolutely free. So we need to talk now. What is the actual value of Miyabi? How good is she? Should you pull? Everything like that. So guys, let's go ahead and start off with number one on our list here, which is free to play friendliness. Now, as you can see here, we have a pro section with Miyabi in her finest of forms. Then we have the Citabi over here. Okay guys, so this is our pro and con section, and the first topic I want to talk about right now is free to play friendliness, because as we know from the live stream, guys, she is going to be an anomaly fiend. She is going to be really good in that class. We know that she plays off of disorders, but what does that mean for the actual teams we can build around her? And I figure, why not bring up every single character we have in the game right now and talk about what teams that she can necessarily work with here. Now, realistically, these are all the characters that are going to synergize super well with Miyabi, or synergize in some type of way, shape, or form with Miyabi here, right? So let's go ahead and jump into this, right? Lycon. I mean, Lycon, I think if this is probably one of the best 5-stars that you could have gotten from the standard selector. So, I mean, if you picked him up, I think they'll work really well together. First of all, he's going to be enhancing her ice damage, even though she's the frostbitten, she still does have like ice damage in her kit. So this will be buffing him up in some type of way, shape, or form. Also, if we take a look at Rina brings up Pin. I don't think this is the best in-slot option. Realistically, I think the only way that you would run Rina is if you're running her on a team with like her and then Shokaku, and then you throw Rina on the team as well. I think that can work. I don't think that's necessarily the best in slot though. So I mean, there is that as well. I think the best standard character is going to be Lycon on a team with her, though that's not to say that you can't run Lighter on a team with her as well, because I mean, if you just pull for Lighter and you're planning to pull for her, I think they work well. He buffs up the ice damage and fire damage. Her having ice damage in her kit, he's going to work really nicely there as well. He also puts debuff on the enemies. Obviously, Yanagi and her are going to work super well together. I think realistically, this is going to be her best in slot team right here, with Yanagi, Miyabi, and then also Caesar King as well. Caesar King offering you shield and then also giving you an attack buff, while Miyabi is going to be giving you the disorder procs that you need. Yanagi's helping with the disorder procs that you need. I think this is going to be by far the best in slot comp. But if you didn't pull Yanagi, right? Say you didn't pull Yanagi, I think another good option here is Bernice, right? I think Bernice can slot in for Yanagi really nice, because she can still help you get disorder. That's why I think Bernice is probably one of the better characters we have in the game right now, just because of the fact that she is able to help out so much with that anomaly proc. So Bernice also works there as well. So let's mix it up a little bit. Let's say you could only pull for one of these characters here. So obviously Miyabi's on the team, Shokaku on the team as well. I think Bernice, really good option here. I think Lycon, really good option here. I think Yanagi, really good option here. I think Lighter, really good option here. Like, if you're running her on a pseudo free-to-play team, I think there are so many different characters that you can actually throw on the team here and make it work. I feel like if you've been playing since the release of Caesar King, you actually have some pretty good options, especially if you picked up a character like Caesar, Bernice, Lighter, or Yanagi. I feel like all of these characters do really come in clutch. But I feel like if you've been playing the game since October, guys, you're going to be really good to go. Where I feel like it's kind of down bad is if you're a new player, you just started the game. I feel like this could be kind of weird to play her with, just because you don't have all of those subsequent releases since October. But if you started in that time period, I think you're fine. Even if you've only picked up one signature character, right? One signature 5-star character is going to be really good there. Number 2, guys, damage is going to be absolutely insane with this character. What I really want to go into here is what characters make her damage pop the absolute fuck off, right? Because I feel like there are characters that you need on your account to make her damage pop, even if you can use her in multiple different scenarios with multiple different teams. So these right here are the characters that are going to make her damage absolutely pop off. Realistically, this team right here, put a star by this one right here, these are the main characters making her damage pop off. I do believe that Bernice can work as well on this team. I think she's a good sub if you don't have Yanagi in here, but I feel like the best in slot team is going to be this team right here, with one of these characters. Obviously Yanagi, Miyabi, and this being on the same team, and then obviously you can slot in Caesar King or Rina here for the buffer on that team. I think this is going to be the best in slot team. So realistically, with what we have here on your team, you need to have 2 signature characters on the team at all times, plus another standard 5-star character that you might not have gotten, or you didn't pick her up maybe from like the standard selector. So overall, to make her best in slot team, you're going to be needing a lot of investment in terms of the signature 5-stars on your account. So this brings me back to our chart over here, guys. Needs a lot of signature S rank characters, guys. She needs a lot of these to do big damage, right? To make her hit her utmost damage. I'm talking I'm talking the damage multiplier of having her on that team is going to be like at least like a 50 to 60% increase in the damage she's able to do versus what she's able to do normally. Now, that's where it comes into this though. Her damage is still pretty insane on non-BIS team, on the non-best in slot team. Her damage does go kind of crazy. Now, why does it go kind of crazy? Because a lot of her kit can play within itself as long as you're running her on the correct team, right? And why is the damage on non-best in slot good, right? Her scalings are going to be really nice, guys, meaning she plays a lot within herself, meaning you give her one stat, and that's going to be equaling another stat. So let's take, for example here, right? You give her crit rate, and then she gets anomaly mastery, right? So basically, you're getting 2 stats for the price of 1. So that means you don't necessarily have to like go full into Anon mastery, right? Because if she's getting this stat from her crit rate, that means you can full swing crit rate and make your overall investment costs go down and like having to farm more go down, right? So the scalings are going to be really nice and really good in her favor, right? And considering how she kind of works of, you know, you can kind of run into like a crit rate, crit damage fiend or a crit rate, crit damage DPS on top of that anomaly as well. It makes her kind of like a multi-role DPS, right? Which is really nice because this means you're not subjugated to, I guess, necessarily running her on, you know, an anomaly team, right? Like I said, I think the second best in slot team is an anomaly team, but that doesn't completely block it out, right? This means you can run her on a team with like Lycon, right? Lycon is going to be good for her, gives her a damage buff. You can run her on teams with like Lighter as well, right? Lighter's going to be really nice here too. But like I said, she's flexible in a way that you don't necessarily need those. So you could realistically here go for a team with like Shokaku, right? Which is a completely free to play unit that you get in the game. So Shokaku gonna work here, and guess what Shokaku does? It's also going to be proccing off her additional ability because she's part of the same faction. So Shokaku being free and then also working on a team with her will also play a role into her damage, and that's why I think that these things make her so good, because she's not completely locked down. My big problem with Yanagi, guys, is she's kind of locked down to your other person's disorder. If your other person's not doing big disorder damage, then her damage does drop significantly. Whereas with her, her damage does drop off if you're not using like a full disorder team. You do have something else to rely on, and that's the multi-damage facet that she offers with her kit. Now, gamers, this one's gonna be suspect, guys, okay? Because I do believe that the W engine is an absolute must. Taking a look at these are all the anomaly W engines in the game right now. None of these offer any crit rate. And if we're using the same analogy we used before in the previous section of her scaling off of one stat and going to another stat, I'm just going to use that same effect here, right? So let's just say that she scales off of crit rate, right? Let's just say that a lot of her stats derive from crit rate, right? What do these W engines not have? They don't have fucking crit rate, okay? Like, anomaly proficiency is there, cool. I don't think she really gives a shit about that. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, okay? Maybe some is good, right? I genuinely don't think she really cares that much about that stat, though. So, that kind of throws just about all of these out of contention, right? And I don't want to doomsday it all just yet, right? Because I do think there is another way out of it. Now, this is going to be cope, okay? Listen to me. Hear me out. Copium here. You might need to use an assault W engine, guys. Now, why do I say this? Now, you're not going to be getting any of these extra buffs, right? None of the extra buffs here. But if maybe she does scale off her crit rate, and she does have a threshold she needs to meet, and your build is not reaching that threshold, might be beneficial just to get the free stat here, because you do still get the free stat here. Like, for example, if you're running something like Ellen's Light Cone, what does that give you? Free crit rate. If you're using Steel Cushion, what does that give you? Crit rate. If you're using Cannon Rotor, which is a BP Light Cone, free crit rate. Now, all these ones we just mentioned right here, guys, are going to be summonable, like 5-star S rank, and also BPW engines, right? There is one more proposal I'd like to offer to you guys. Now, this is going to be the most copium of all. Right here. Lunar, Novi Lunar right here, guys. B rank W engine, guys. Why? Free 16% crit rate. Now, super copium, I know, right? But just getting this free stat here would probably boost her damage up quite a bit if you can reach the threshold of crit rate if she ends up scaling off that. Going back to our pro and con section here, guys, there are no free-to-play anomaly W engines that you can absolutely run with her, right? There are none, right? And also, if we look on the other end for Assault, right, obviously you're going to be giving up that big, juicy passive that it gives. Not many free-to-play option Assault ones either. The only shimmering hope we have here is the 1 B rank. Oh, this is copium to even put here, bro. 1 B rank Assault W engine that we have, guys, right? This is going to be, oh man, this is a major doom for her, I feel like. Overall, you really need to be building her good. That's all I'm going to say. So with this being said, this also forces you into yet another con, respectively, to this, right? With the W engine being a must. If you can't get any of these W engines and you don't want to be brain rot and run the B rank one, you're going to have a great build. As the great Nick A3 would say, you're going to be needing an amazing build, okay, guys? So this also plays into this as well, because you're going to be focusing on a lot more crit rate in those substats and getting those up, because if you don't necessarily have this W engine, right? If you don't have her signature W engine, you're probably going to be missing out on bare minimum 24% crit rate from hers. So that's a whole lot of extra crit rate you need to be building. Because what this means for the build, right, is you're going to be needing 10 sub rolls. Like, if you deadass needed just a W engine to get over the amount that you would need to get, like, to her threshold she might have, you're going to be needing at least 10 crit rate subs here, guys. So that is a fuck ton of subs to roll into. So you really, like, you might be shit out of luck if your build's not amazing. Okay, guys, that's what I want to, that's a major con with her, and I do want to point that out. And then our final point I want to touch on, guys, is her banner. I said it's amazing here. I've kind of already gassed it up a little bit because I genuinely do think her banner is quite amazing. If we take a look here, guys, really quick at what the banner actually is going to be looking like, it actually has Piper, Shokaku, and Miyabi, obviously, like your 2A rank here, which I love. They only do 2A ranks because it makes it a little bit less RNG in your pools. If you have a third one, then kind of down bad if it's not very good, right? But I love that they have 2 here, and the really good thing about this banner, right, is you can actually run this team. This is a full team for her, and this is probably one of her better teams that you can run. I love when gacha games do this. I love when gacha games give us the ability to use the banner that we currently have in the game right now with everyone on the banner that's right up is able to be used in a team. This is going to be her F2P team right here, guys. This is going to be her best F2P team. The banner for me, guys, is an absolute boom, right? Now, the portion of the video that you've been waiting for, guys, should you be pulling for Miyabi, right? I think it depends on your account. Overall, I do feel like that she is a really, really good pull. I don't think any character is necessarily a must pull, right? I think if you're in a situation where you already have multiple DPS in your account and you're kind of covering different things already, like with DPS, I don't think she's necessarily as much of a pull on your account, or like you should necessarily pull for her as much, right? But I feel like if you're in a situation where your DPS is already kind of struggling, you don't have very many DPS in your account, and you've been pulling for things like Lighter, Bernice, Caesar King, like a lot of these characters we've been getting since October, I think that she might be more of a pull for you, right? Like, I think if you have Jane Doe in your account, well, you know, you can use Jane Doe. And then another DPS from, like, 1.0 to really support you. But I do feel like that she is going to be the best DPS in the game. And I do think that she will offer a lot of value to your account, even though she is a DPS. I feel like the ability to run her in multiple different roles, not only an anomaly disorder role, but also in a role that you can maybe run her as a crit type DPS as well. I think that's also very good, too. So, overall, I think she's really good to pick up for your account if you wanted to. Don't think she's a must pull. I do think she will be really good for your account, though. That's all I really have to say today, guys. If you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel. I'd really, really appreciate that. And anyways, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Later. Bye.